Any Swifties in the building? Just one? We're down bad, man. What did you think of the new album? Huh? You love it? I love it as well, man. I love it as well, and it's so frustrating because whenever I tell people like I'm a Taylor Swift fan, the first response is always, "Oh, so you're gay?" And I'm like, no. You know? No, that's so annoying because I find that for me, it almost feels like that's racism, you know? No, because no one ever says that about hip hop, and hip hop probably has the most suspect lines in it across the board. No, like one of my favorite rappers, B.I.G., Biggie, he has a lyric where he says, "Excuse my profanity, you look so good that I would suck your daddy's dick." You know what I mean? That is like, you know, that's pause. But I never questioned that lyric. I never had any issue with it until the Diddy trial. Then I was like, okay, cool, maybe, you know, then what? Yeah, so like, you know, like rappers act all gangster. Everyone acts like hip hop's all gangster, but like I feel like hip hop is the only genre where like an artist can go to prison, you know, for like 9 months and come out with their hair braided. And no one questions that process, you know. I know there's no Tony and Guy in Belmarsh, you get what I'm saying? So that means he was sitting between another man's legs, you know what I mean? And he was caressing his head, you know? No, I mean, that's real. Like, imagine that conversation, you know? He's like working through his hair. He's like, "Fam, you got a good texture hair, you know?" Other guys like, "Fam, I'm not gonna lie, you got soft hands still, you got soft hands." Taylor's getting married, which is big news for us Swifties. She's getting married to Travis Kelce. I don't know too much about him, but I know more than enough because of this album. So basically on the album, she has a song called Wish List, which is like a wholesome song about like wanting to have a family and, you know, marry him, and she wants all his kids to look like him. And then she has another song, which is called Wood. It's not about climate change. It's about Travis's wood, and it's way too much information. But that's artistic expression, I suppose. But I think it's all a distraction, you know. That's what inspired this piece. Because sometimes I think we look up at all these stars when some of these kids around the world don't even get to make a wish. It's either Will or Jada Smith or Elizabeth Taylor Swift. But in March 2019, on the 15th, a man walked into 2 mosques in New Zealand and he opened fire. 59 people were killed, 81 were injured. But on the 16th, the next day, Taylor Swift dropped 30 things I'd learned at 30, and of course that took my attention. 2 weeks ago, 2 Jewish people were killed in the synagogue. A week later, they burnt down a Brighton mosque. And that should have been my priority, but we all know Life of a Showgirl just dropped. That's the name of Taylor's new album. So me and the Swifties are on Twitter arguing about which one is the best song. You know, they say there's a ceasefire, but will the fire ever cease? It feels like we're living in a reality TV show where Trump declares peace at the end of it. And I felt like we'd mastered peace, or maybe we're still just going through our apprenticeship. That's why when I say peace, I say it in parenthesis or parentheses for emphasis, because we're so distracted that we no longer even need censorship. I feel like my phone's the new Matrix, and every scroll I'm combating with Agent Smith. So I ask myself, what's more important, these stars, or these kids around the world that barely get to make a wish?